Good evening, everyone. It's 6 o'clock. Welcome to the public safety meeting. Roll call, please.
Alderperson Hoggett.
Here.
Alderperson Vanzel.
Here.
Alderperson Yakub.
Here. All right. Do we have, everyone saw their minutes. Do we have a motion to approve or any changes that need to be made?
Move to approve. I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. All right. Moving on. Number 3, consider request to conduct Willow River Super Fun Walk and Run on Saturday, October 26, 2013 at 9:30 a.m., beginning and ending at Willow River Elementary School. Come on up. This is a yearly event.
In fact, I think this is the second one this year, isn't it, Roger?
Yeah, didn't we did one in the...
Yeah, it is.
We did one in the... We did one in the spring, didn't we?
Yeah.
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 I'm Roger Peranto. I'm a volunteer for the Willow River Walk Run. Everything is going to stay the same except for the date. We'll secure an officer for 2nd Street. We've had no problems in the past. This is our 5th time doing it. I see it's all held basically on the sidewalks in the Dyke Road, and hopefully the weather will cooperate. And
Yeah, nothing's changed, right?
questions?
Nothing changes.
So I'll make a motion for approval.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
All right, thank you. It'll probably go on consent, so no need to worry, I would think. Have fun. Super fun, super fun. All right, number 4, consider request to conduct the Brian Lautenbach Celebrate Life Fun Run on Saturday, September 28th, 2013 at 9 a.m., beginning and ending at White Camp Park. And Nicole's here. Name and address, please, and also another one that we've done for years now, so go ahead.
Yes, my name is Nicole Monroe, and I'm the race director for the Brian Lautenbach Celebrate Life 5K. This will be the 3rd annual run walk, and it is held at White Camp Park. Nothing is changing this year with this event either, except that we are going to add a silent auction at the event. But the entire race is kind of throughout Red Cedar Canyon and Heritage Green subdivision, and it ends on Hanley Road on the bike trail.
Same route as last year?
Yeah, same route.
Same route.
Yeah, there hasn't been any issues with it either. I was a little concerned about, because of the roundabout going in not being attractive, but that early in the morning, I don't think there should be any issues on O'Neill Road
But but the roundabout's supposed to be done by the 16th
of this
of September,
September. Oh, that was my only
by
concern.
that week. So hope if weather is good, then that concern should be alleviated.
Right.
So I'll make a motion for approval.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Moving on. You should also probably will be on consent, so for the next meeting, so you should be good to go. All right. I'll let you know if you're not. Okay. Number 5, consider ride-sharing program for people with disabilities. Is anyone here for that tonight?
I see Mr. Lee is here.
I'm looking straight at you, saying, is anyone here for that tonight? 6 blocks away. Okay, so we'll go on to another agenda item and come back. Is that all right? Thank you. Is that all right with everybody on safety?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Review the draft ordinance for pedal cycle tours.
As you can see, this is the draft ordinance that Catherine came up with in regards to the pedal tours, the ones you see in Minneapolis, St. Paul, Stillwater. She got if you take a look at the definition, and she put it down as a commercial pedal tour quadricycle. I believe that's what the state is looking at, trying to regulate them. That's what they're calling them currently right now. She did send a letter or a memo along. I hope you got a copy of that in regards to some issues that the Public Safety Committee should take a look at in regards to where do we want these people to run? Do we want to, the idea of alcohol consumption and so forth. So those will be items that will have to be discussed and probably worked out.
Well, I thought alcohol is prohibited on.
Alcohol is prohibited off a licensed premise, but only under city code. It's not a state code function.
I thought it was a state.
No, we were under the assumption it was too, but when Catherine did research on it, it's just a city code. So if the city decided they wanted to allow alcohol off a licensed premise on a public street or a public sidewalk or something, they could.
Well, I think that's just.
I believe that the reason that ordinance was passed was back in the 70s when there was a lot of issues with people downtown and so forth, so.
That's just trouble waiting to happen. I don't think,
Exactly.
unless I'm speaking for the whole committee, but does anyone else think there should be? Because I don't think there should be.
Frankly, I think it's, I don't have a problem with it, but I can appreciate that there are times when things can get out of hand, so. But other places like Minneapolis, although she cited a incident over there where the whole thing tipped over and they had to send people to the hospital, but that just sounds like bad driving to me, because the driver's the one, the people that are drinking beer or whatever on or beer or wine on one of those things are just pedaling or not pedaling.
But if we open this up, then we open it up to more than just pedal cab.
Probably.
Yeah, which to me could be a greater problem.
Seems like we ought to prove the pedal cab thing first and then make variations down the road if that is something that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you would,
And the state law says that if it has a motor which would propel it, then it falls under the state regulation of consumption on a motorized
Right.
vehicle.
correct,
So
And-
then it's prohibited.
Correct.
I believe this guy said he had a motor on this thing.
No, that's for the pedal tours.
that's what this is.
That's what this is.
I thought these were the, oh yeah, pedal tour licensing, or I'm
He-
thinking
so
pedal,
he-
I'm thinking the guy with the bike.
That's
Or-
already done.
So alcohol consumption is prohibited not only in the local law, but state law
Right.
also.
State level.
Right, so
within
he
the
kicks the
vehicle.
motor in when it gets slow, so,
Yeah, when it gets hard to pedal if they go up a small incline and so
Yeah, he
forth like
puts the
that,
motor
so.
in. So once
Right.
he has the motor, it's state law that he can't have alcohol.
right, so it's kind of a moot point.
Correct.
It does kind of convert to the state law. I don't think there's the minute he starts going up a hill, he says he puts his motor in, so, I mean, unless he's going flat and downhill the whole time, I don't think there'll be a time where he's not going to use his motor at some point.
Correct. Now, the question comes into whether or not it has to be licensed then, since it's operating as state roadways, because I know when Catherine talked to the lawyers down at DOT, their interpretation is that if it has a motor, it's considered a vehicle.
How fast does it go with the motor?
I'm not sure.
Because we did that electric car last year. It was,
Do with the
didn't go,
electric car, that's correct.
and didn't go faster than 35, that electric car, right?
Correct. That's if he has an electric motor. If he's got a gas engine in it,
Right.
That
And but
would be
we're
separate.
requiring that car to be licensed.
yeah.
So I think that I kind of agree with the DMV. If it has a motor,
Correct.
mopeds have to be licensed. They don't go faster than 45.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this one runs on batteries.
I'm not sure. We'd have to take a look and see what he's going to run it on. But if it has an engine in it or a motor, it's considered a vehicle. So
So I mean, I would think it should be licensed. It's a road on, it has lights on it. It can go at nighttime. It can go at, I mean,
correct.
technically bicyclists are supposed to be licensed, aren't they?
Correct.
Okay, so
Right.
why would we give exception, you know?
So is there anything in the ordinance that anyone saw that they thought should be looked at?
222-7 on page 5. I just had a couple questions. Is $2 million, is that a lot? Not enough? Too little? I mean, I don't, what do we normally require for cabs? I guess I didn't have time to do the homework on that.
I think it's 2 million for cabs too.
I want to say it's maybe $1 million.
It's a million.
Don't
for-
we when we have large assembly events, don't we ask for just
That's
$1
$1
million?
million.
I think it's $1 million. So obviously
But-
this is double for that.
That seems like a lot to me for a pedal cab, but I don't know. I don't want it to be cost prohibitive for the,
Well, the
Didn't
question
get up
is,
to
how
8
much does it
people on
cost
it.
to insure a $2 million policy versus, I don't know if it's necessarily cost, I mean, not that much.
I'm a contractor, I have to have $2 million in insurances, and it's not that much.
sure.
How
And
much is it?
most of this that she took on this ordinance is from Minneapolis's.
I think we should keep it then if it's only like $100. I don't think that's, he's probably, if they're coming from Stillwater, I would assume they're already insured.
Right, no, yeah, I
They
just
just have
didn't
to
know.
be insured in Wisconsin.
I just want to make sure it was on par with our other
Yeah.
policies.
Well, I think it's a different situation. You got people who are not enclosed on a vehicle that can move with a motor, you know what I mean, versus a car where you're kind of have a shell to somewhat protect you if you get hit. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Also, moving on, 222-8, the next section, approved tour assembly sites and routes required. All commercial pedal tour, quadricycle, that's right, quadricycle businesses shall operate tours only from approved commercial locations on private property approved by the city. Do we have provisions for that, or is this something that, what other business would need those kinds of approved commercial locations on private property?
Well, if it's private and they're pulling their vehicle into a private parking lot to load and unload, I read it as you need approval from that business to pull into their parking lot to load and unload this vehicle.
Well, and here it also says approved site shall provide patron access to restroom facilities and a minimum of 3 off-street customer parking spaces per pedal. So, I mean, there's got to be some logistics going on here. Why can't they just use a public parking lot, I guess is.
Well, they could, this is for, to me, it says, I'm reading private property only.
It does say down at the very bottom there, John, that last sentence, that if it's a downtown business district, then the parking and the restroom requirement is exempt.
Oh, okay, thank you. I missed that.
So if they're gonna go into Target, I think it makes sense. If I have a private parking lot, I don't want a pedal cab or a big bus coming in and loading, unloading, and, you know, what if it hinders people from parking at my business?
I think this refers to a private business that might want to sponsor the quadricycle.
Right,
And so if they sponsor it, they have to have these requirements.
right.
But it doesn't prohibit them from using the approved public areas that are
Okay.
designated by the city.
Right, that's how, yeah, exactly. So, are you, what else? Do we-
No, I'm okay with that. I just was kind of trying to make sure that we're all okay with that. The final thing was the sound. And the only question I had, I think it's on the next page here. What if they're giving tours and they want to have a handheld microphone to be able to have audio for that?
Well, we have a decibel ordinance, as long as they're under the decibel.
Somewhere in here that talked about sound, like
No
not allowing any
amplified.
kind of sound, so,
I don't remember reading that, hold on.
It's page 8, item M, is that the one you're referring to?
I think
John?
so, yeah.
No music or amplified sound shall be played.
Music shall be played, no yelling or conversation be, oh, jeez. In such a manner that the sound of which carries to points. Well, it's just saying, well, I think it's still saying to keep it within the decibel. It's saying, it's not saying no sound, it's saying it can't carry maybe 50, I mean, 50 feet is what, into another, from the street to I don't know, inside the, or, you know, any of the buildings. I mean, that's more than 50 feet, that 50 feet.
I guess
Just think
I was
it's-
trying to tie it back to the question on top of page 11, which says, should all amplified sound be prohibited regardless of purpose? That's a question for the city. I don't think, I think you can keep a low sound on a quadricycle to give a tour. I was worried that.
Well, is amplified defined as beyond our decibels? The decibel that we allow for bars and,
I think what, like I said, this is from the Minneapolis. I wonder if theirs wasn't set up in such a way that you don't have these things going down the street blaring music on
Right.
them versus, you know, I think we could make an exception or put it in the ordinance here that you'd be able to use some type of, you know, sound system for.
Yeah, like a
you know,
PA, personal, yeah.
personal, right.
Yeah,
As long as the decibel levels were not,
beyond,
yeah.
I forgot what
at
the
50
decibel level
feet.
is for a bar. What is it?
it's
That
pretty
we
loud,
allow.
actually.
I
Yeah,
think
that's
we,
actually pretty loud.
so it was only Ellie's that we lowered? I thought we lowered them all. It was just Ellie's that we lowered their decibel requirements.
I don't remember.
I know we lowered it for Ellie's when we had that situation. You weren't on council, were you? Neither were you.
Nope.
So I know that was one of the requirements, is we had them lower their decibel level, but it might have just been for them. So yeah, bars can be pretty loud, but I think we should find out what the decibel level was for Ellie's, because I think there's a difference, and maybe that's the baseline we should go off
Okay.
and see. But I don't know if that's even going to be too loud.
I think, you know, pretty close together. I would imagine they'd be able to put some type of
Yeah,
system in there where just Dave could hear it, or was it you'd only hear it a few feet away from the
Yeah.
right. I don't think they're going to be
equipment itself?
blaring,
Right.
but I suppose we could open it up for that.
Well,
We have to be careful how it's worded.
If we keep the hours of operation, it's 10 to 10, so I can't imagine that's going to disturb a whole lot of people. I mean, it's pretty much prime time.
Right.
Right, but if they're going through a community in 9:45 at night on a Wednesday night,
Mm-hmm.
We'll send them
Blaring
by your
music.
house.
huh?
We'll send them by your house.
You which
cranking it.
house? So, okay.
And I guess the other thing is that where would you like to prohibit them from operating?
3rd Street Hill.
Okay.
I'm strong on the third. I think the Vine Street by the library, between 2nd and 1st.
Yeah, that's really steep.
Yep. I had another one in my head.
Fillmore?
Yes, Fillmore.
Fillmore? 11th to 12th on Fillmore?
Yes.
Yep.
There was one more I had.
Maybe
in my-
11th to, or 12th to 9th Street, all the way down the hill.
Bear Road.
Yeah.
Bear Road.
Yep,
Bear Road.
that was.
And then 7th Street would probably be another one.
Uh-huh. I think that's all I had in my head were those.
How about the parks? Or do you want the Parks Department or the Park Board to
Yeah, let
decide
them
that?
decide that. I mean, if it's during park hours, I don't understand.
There's actually a provision in here for that. It says you have to get permission from the park board or the
Okay,
council or
well,
both. Or
they got that taken care of.
Okay.
How do you remember all this?
What I'll do is I'll bring those suggestions to Catherine and have her try to word them into the ordinance.
There was one other location,
Commercial Street downtown?
yeah, commercial was another one, but I had another one in my head too. That's all right, I'll think about it. Doesn't matter, I'll be wasting time trying to remember it right now, but there was one other location that it's difficult. I'm curious about Vine Street in general through downtown. From like 9th down. It just, it's very narrow.
And the one thing is that, I talked to Nancy about this. She had gone and ridden one in St. Paul here about a month ago with some friends of hers. And she said when she was on level, flat ground pedaling that thing, it was very, very hard
Yes.
in which to do. So I can't imagine them going up too many steep inclines
Yeah, no
with
doubt.
that thing. So,
Do you have any thoughts, Lance, on street, since you're driving, you're all around?
I was wondering how far past we go on 2nd or 35 up to towards North Hudson. When do you stop it there? Because that gets a little quicker speeds. And
St. Croix, where would the cutoff be? Because
Then what's that
they're
road?
not, this is just approval for the city of Hudson, not to go into North Hudson.
correct.
So if you cut off at Corky's Pier, right before the bridge, that's kind of a difficult, maybe it's convenient to go into that parking lot and turn around, I don't know.
Could be. And if they have a motorist assist, they'd be able to get,
Yeah, so
Should be able
maybe
to
we
get
should
the
let
hill.
it go up to Corky's Pier so they have a turnaround.
as long as we don't restrict their movements, so.
Yeah, what do you think? Yeah. All right.
All right.
Any other streets out there that,
Not that I can think
in
of.
your districts that you know of? Mine are pretty open, so.
I'll contact Catherine and have her make those changes and have them put them in.
Okay, yeah, that was all, my biggest concern was the streets. Kind of like them. So, all right, so we have those changes, so do we need to bring it back to safety, or we want to take it to council with those changes?
It's up to you.
Why don't we just bring it to council?
All
Yeah.
right.
I think so.
Okay.
I don't know if she'll have it ready by the 16th, so maybe we should give her to the first meeting in October.
Yeah, you're not going to be there on the 16th.
Well, that doesn't matter, we're gonna be.
Well, I think it matters.
It matters. Then Rich and I'll have to.
Okay, bring it to the first meeting in October.
We're learning. We're learning.
Okay, first meeting in October.
Okay.
Hopefully, if she can do it, obviously, or that would be her goal, or the goal.
You want
I
to make a
guess.
motion to bring that to council for that?
Make a motion to bring the ordinance for pedal tour quadricycle licensing and regulations to the full council in the first meeting in October.
I will second that.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, let's move back to number 6 for the 2013, or I'm sorry, for the rideshare program. We have Ramsey's here, right? Yeah. And I can't get my thing open. So, 1 second. Oh, that's awesome. Okay, consider ride sharing program for people with disabilities. Marty, do you want to start on? Okay, hold on. I got it. Open. Thank you.
I just have,
Yep, we got that on
Oh, you did
email.
get
I don't
that.
know if did everybody get his letter today on email? Did everybody read it?
That might be easier that way.
Is it the same letter we have on the
Yeah,
agenda?
the letter,
Okay.
the letter that he sent to us in email. I don't know if y'all read it.
I actually
I
read it.
read it. It came in around.
Whoa. Sorry.
Oh. Here, Marty, or Melanie. It came in on email, but
I think we have that.
yeah, they just gave us a copy.
Thank you.
Ramsey, that's a good name. My brother's name is Ramsey, so it's very easy for me to remember.
There you go.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me here today. As you know, most of you know, my name is Ramsey Lee. I'm an advocate for people with disabilities and I've serve on several state boards and used to be on the St. Clair County Aging and Disability Board and back behind me are my parents, Dennis and Debbie, along with a consumer constituent and advocate, Mr. Benjamin Lux. And basically, what I'm here to do today is tell you about transportation and discuss the possibility of a rideshare program. Now, given the size of the city of Hudson and the number of individuals who need transportation, I strongly feel that there is a strong need for a rideshare program or an accessible taxi here in Hudson. No, it's essential for people to get to work and even to get around and participate in all aspects of community life. I would have had several other people here with me tonight, but most of them didn't have rights. And I'm just very, very grateful for the services we have. And to becoming a part of the workforce someday and helping people of all abilities get jobs and become important throughout the community. And not only that, if people wanna go to a movie and have some entertainment and help the economy that way, I think it's essential for Hudson to have accessible taxi service. Any thoughts?
Any thoughts?
There's many, there might be many, I'm not sure.
Well, frankly, I couldn't agree more. I think I have a couple of relatives that are also in wheelchairs, and having some access to not only to go to work, but to be able to go shopping or to go to the doctor. Some of the doctors, some of the facilities around here have some of that for that kind of thing, but
I'm sorry.
for everything else, it's
Give that to you. I didn't know they're both the same.
seems like we're kind of limited in terms of transportation.
And that comment, just so everybody has a little background, I have a ton of respect for everybody that currently have a contract with a provider previously, but because of some access issues and some other issues, we had to terminate that contract. So basically, now we're looking forward to working with a company called A1 Taxi out of Hudson. Doug and his crew, they do a wonderful, wonderful job. And he's familiar with several other towns that have licensing programs. So basically, all I'm asking, all that I'm asking is for some dialogue to take place from the St. Clair Aging and Disability Resource Center and the city of Hudson to get some public transportation options available so that transportation does not always have to be on friends or relatives. This will also create more jobs in the community too. And everybody has gifts and talents. So let's see if we can make this happen. I'm also asking for the approval to apply for some grants or scholarships if they're available to get A1 an accessible vehicle, because I think everybody should benefit, no matter if somebody falls and breaks their leg or somebody can't take their groceries. Everybody should have an option for, except for transportation. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Ramsey. When I first ran for council and got on, that was one of my top 3 things, was to try and get accessibility for handicap, and I hit roadblocks, so I'm kind of happy this came back. I have a few questions. I don't know who can answer them, if Ramsey can answer them or not, but the grants that we would apply for, do we know the cost, how much money there is in grant money? Also, is the county, are they on board with it and looking for us to join them, or is it looking for us to get on board and see if they would get on board, I guess is the question I'm...
Disability Council is on board. I know that because Marty was so gracious to meet with Vlad and Tracy today. I know they would like to see this happen. I know Doug from A1 does it in other communities, and it really require a very little investment on their part. Now because Doug is more familiar with this, he would be the best one to answer it. I just know that it's essential.
Doug?
Is that Doug?
I don't know many.
Doug, can you come to the podium, maybe? I assume, are you Doug?
I'm sorry, I'm going to just step in here for a second. I'm Bob Francis from A-Taxi.
Okay.
And unfortunately, Doug Luxemore was not able to attend tonight.
All right.
He would be the man to talk to. Hudson Taxi is owned by FDS Enterprises. FDS Enterprises' main thing is operating shared ride cab services.
Okay.
We do this in several other cities around Wisconsin, and we are definitely all for Hudson moving forward towards a shared ride system. As far as the grants, there is money available. I got to be careful what I say here, because I personally have not had the conversation, but through Doug's conversation, there is he's in contact with the people from the state, and there's additional funding available if cities would apply for it.
Okay, so let me re-ask the question in a different way. If, let's say, there are no grants available, the maximum cost to the city would be this $38,581 that I'm seeing here. It's a breakdown between, this was in 2012, so I'm sure it's probably gone up a little, but there's a breakdown in federal share, state share, and city share. So I'm assuming that's the maximum that would affect the city if we were to go forward and not receive grants. Is that a safe assumption? Do you know that or no?
Well, and that price is every city is a different price. Every city has got different numbers. We were looking briefly at this afternoon on the internet, and we would ask the city of Hudson to do more research and look at more cities with shared ride systems other than just Richmond, because we service two of the cities that we service. The city has no share.
Okay.
It's all depends on how they work the numbers and what the city wants as to how this all works out. And unfortunately, I am not the man to answer these questions. Doug Luxinger is,
Okay.
and he was unable to attend tonight. He would like to see this postponed until he could be present.
Okay, well, before we do that, Mr. Darnold's here. I think you can answer some of these questions. Do you want to help us out?
I learned of this issue a couple days ago, but I've done a lot of research in the last couple days. Essentially, the Wisconsin Department of Transportation has funding programs for rural and small communities, small urban communities. I tried to call the DOT this afternoon. Unfortunately, they did not call me back. I had a couple questions on how funding may be applied. I think one option may be for a city of Hudson would be to purchase a vehicle. The vehicles under the DOT program right now, the type that would be utilized for a program to serve persons with disabilities, either one or two wheelchair vehicle. Also, they'd have anywhere from 7 to 10 additional ambulatory seats available. Those vehicles run from about $54,000 to $61,000 for a gas vehicle, about $10,000 more for a diesel vehicle. The current share of funding is 80-20, with the understanding that 90% of funding for the equipment for a vehicle that meets the requirements of the Americans with Disabilities Act, that portion of the vehicle is eligible for 90% funding. So if you're looking at $60,000, 20% would be $12,000. You take some off, hopefully for the 10% cost of, or the 90% will actually be paying 10% cost of, so you might be somewhere around $10,000 for a vehicle. My research indicates that the city of Hudson can lease those vehicles for not more than $1 to a public transportation system to be utilized. So the city of Hudson, probably at the very minimum, not taking in operational costs, if you get into a system where the city's not responsible for operational costs, but you're providing a vehicle under a lease arrangement within the requirements of the federal programs, the city of Hudson could be in for one vehicle for a minimum amount of maybe $10,000 to $12,000, approximately.
Are we only allowed one vehicle through?
No,
this?
you can have more. I'm just saying one vehicle. If that could serve, I think one of the things that would have to be determined is, what is demand, how many number of
Right.
vehicles, and so forth.
Right.
What transit system you're going to, currently you have three taxi services. 2 of them provide vehicles with disability access. I talked to the other one, Ninja Taxi, today, because they didn't promote in their advertisements that they have disability access. And they said they are very interested in purchasing a disability vehicle also. So the question is, the grant program. Unfortunately, grant programs for 2014 close out on October 15th, and you have to have a 30-day public hearing process. So your public hearing had to be October 12th, which is Saturday. You'd have to make a decision on the 14th, and with your application going in the 15th, which would be extremely difficult to meet. So probably you're into the 2015. Then also the question is, will you be applying for operational? And that's where the comments made in regards to operational. You're only looking at New Richmond's system on those estimates, and you're absolutely right. They can vary widely from community to community depending on what type of service they provide and need and so forth. So you're absolutely right. Other communities, City of River Falls has a ride-share program. We can examine what their costs may be. But it's not something you're going to get done in time to apply for funding for your operational cost or capital costs within the next 35 days, in all reality.
So we could operate a vehicle and then apply for funding for next go-around next year.
Yeah, this time next year.
So
Yeah, I mean, you'd want to start the process about June 1st of next year. I mean, there ought to be a lot of work leading up to that determining what the demand and so forth is. Now, Ramsey commented in regards to a possibility of a Sparks grant. I tried to call the organization that sponsors that program. I don't think the City of Hudson is an eligible applicant under my reading of the program. Families and individuals, persons with disabilities can apply for those funds and basically do advocacy, such as trying to start up, getting information in regards to a ride share program that may help persons with disabilities. Maybe something you're trying to inventory what the workforce needs, those types of things. Those grants are $500 to $3,000, but again, I don't think the City of Hudson's eligible to be applicant, but certainly City of Hudson, such as somebody like myself, could assist somebody like Ramsey in writing one of those applications, if that's something that would need to be done. So there's a number of ways of skinning the cat, so to speak, in an issue like this. But unfortunately, if we had started this process 3 months ago, we might have been in some position of applying for that capital. Again, perhaps get a nice vehicle, 10 ambulatory seats, 2 wheelchair, would the City of Hudson obligation would probably be somewhere in about $10,000 to $12,000.
And that's without applying for grants or anything, that's just under the general funding?
That's just a capital program.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's
Again,
really look into.
well, the $64,000 question, so to speak, there is what public transportation agency can we, the City of Hudson, lease that vehicle to for $1?
Right.
What program is eligible? The question I had of the Wisconsin Department of Transportation today, which unfortunately weren't able to call me back, was can a local taxi service such as A1 or the other two be an eligible leasee of that vehicle?
Well, I think there's a lot of questions that need to be answered, but I think it's definitely something this committee should pursue, along with the help of Denny, if you're willing to help. I think that's great. I think maybe we should postpone it to the October meeting so that we can get some more answers.
And certainly, I'd be more than pleased to meet with Representatives Ramsey and Representatives A1 Taxi, or I think Ramsey also referred to the County Aging and Disabilities organization at the St. Croix County Government Center. Again, I'd be pleased to meet with any of those individuals.
And if you want one of us, I'd be happy to meet too. I think I agree with John. It's a much-needed program. Like I said, I tried pursuing it years ago, and I think I was just too young to know where to go. So.
Yeah, it's another thing to consider. Another thing to consider is that Tracy Davis and Brad Beckman from the county might have access to vehicles that you guys can purchase. I know there's gonna be some changes with some entities in town, so I think
It's true.
the dialogue is essential. I just thank you guys for your guys and gals for your cooperation and all your diligence in this matter, and any way I can help, I'd be glad to.
Thank you, Ramsey. And thank you, Denny, for doing all that research for us. That was very helpful. Let's postpone this to or can I have a motion to postpone it to the October 10th safety meeting until we get some information so we can move forward with it, hopefully?
So Denny's going to research this?
Denny's going to do some research. I'll gladly help if he needs it, and see what we can bring back to the October 10th meeting to start a process of hopefully being able to get something like this established in the city.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
Do we have a motion?
Have Denny continue to pursue the purchase of a vehicle and the leasing of a vehicle to a organization that is, I guess, eligible under the rules,
Yeah.
and then bring it back to the October 10th meeting so that we can reconsider it.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, Ramsey, we'll be meeting back here October 10th at 6 o'clock to discuss it again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ramsey.
Okay, so moving on to the siren quotes. Lance, that's why you're here. You can go ahead.
There, the siren quotes, from my understanding, they're still looking at the positioning and where to position, which will help develop that quote right now. So they're working on where the best areas are, what's available right away, things that we already have, city parks, things like that. So we can get the best bang for our buck, so to speak, with how the sirens reach, but also looking at what sirens we currently have and how far they're reaching to make sure that we're getting good access for the sirens.
Do you know if they fixed a white camp siren?
I believe so. We there was a issue, and it was I forget what it was. There was a battery issue, and then there was one other piece, but I believe that's been fixed.
I got an email from Brandon. He said that it got fixed.
Yeah, it was within the 2 days.
All right, so we're going to postpone this again for...
Well, wasn't there a decibel study done that we looked at one time which showed us how far the reach was for these sirens already? Well, I thought when Kim was here, she had a map that showed the decibel level.
Yes,
of
but
the current.
Which is true, and they did a final test. We haven't seen the final test
Right.
results.
And I
Yeah.
think
Yeah,
it's
so-
because we're trying to see if we shift them a little, if we can even reach farther with
Exactly.
the same sirens.
Well,
So we're looking at right-of-ways, we're looking at different city property areas to see where the best locations are.
I guess my memory says to me that the decibel level study that we looked at showed us that we met all the criteria that we're supposed to meet, and we were within the capabilities of these sirens, and
Yes.
it was sufficient.
I think,
Yes.
It
yes,
was
you're right.
sufficient.
I think
And-
what they're
Yes.
looking at now is with the same sirens without adding another, but having the same sirens, if, because the city has grown, maybe if we switch them a little, if we can be even more sufficient, if that makes sense.
Well, again, my position at this point in time, based on the study that I looked at, says we're spending a lot of time and effort for something that's not broken. And so
Even if we can improve what's existing?
if you want to change the criteria for the siren and say that the decibel level has to be higher for some reason, when it, according to the information Kim presented, says we are meeting all of the rules and regulations and requirements for sirens. That's what I remember her saying.
Right.
And so if I'm meeting all the rules and regulations for sirens, I don't know why I'm spending a lot of time and effort and even looking at potentially spending money to fix something that's not broken. I don't understand it.
I don't think it's so much raising decibel levels now as this positioning of the sirens under the same decibel levels to see if we can reach further.
Can we just get a copy of the final map and email it to us, and then we can decide if we want to put it on the next agenda or not, or?
And that's what I believe they're working on. So the study's done, but I think they're just looking at the right-of-way maps and things like
All right,
that. So.
yeah, well, then let's at least see, I mean, if they did the work, let's see the results and,
If the work's done, I'm fine.
okay. All right,
believe
so
it is.
we'll put it on for the next agenda, and if it's not necessarily, we can take it off. But for now, let's just put it on the next agenda and see what comes out of it.
Okay.
Is that all right with everybody? Rich?
I'm just going from the memory of the last study I
Delayed
saw.
gratification.
That covered the next meeting.
All right, we'll just put it on, we'll see what they come up with. The work's been done, let's not blow it off, and let's try and see
Wrap
what
it
we
up.
have. I just lost my stuff. So, thank you, Lance. I believe the next is updates, if I recall from
Yep.
memory, so updates. Let's go, Marty, you've been quiet. Speak away.
A couple things. The end of October, we finally got our last officer back off of family medical leave. We're finally back up to full strength again, so that's nice to have. We did have a bank robbery this morning at about 10:45 to 11. First State Bank and Trust was robbed. So we're working on that right now. We did put out a press release along with the best photo we have right now of the female suspect. So anybody that has information, we're asking if they would come forward and let us know if they saw anything in the area.
You have that photo?
Second in Wisconsin. I don't have it with me, no.
Was it in the
But
paper?
it should be on the patch
It's kind of, I saw it on Facebook already, so
Facebook,
I'm sure
we
it's.
put it out.
Well,
We've
let's
done a pretty good job on that.
put it out here.
We started this week hitting 11th and St. Croix, had officers come in and work a couple overtime shifts the first 2 days of school. In the first 2 days, we've written 22 traffic citations for speeding. And we are going to have more days where we put extra officers on to hit that intersection. Interesting thing though is that we've only, I believe, if my numbers are correct, only 2 students were cited. The rest were adults. So it's not who you think is going through that intersection at a high rate of speed.
And a few teachers, I heard.
I'm not going to say anymore.
Just saying.
I don't want to know.
But, yeah, it's having an effect. We've actually had several of the residents that live in that area come out and talk to our officers that when they're on the traffic stop, thanking them for being there. So obviously we're getting the desired result that we want. So hopefully the numbers will start going down. We're going to hit it more on a random basis so they're not, prepared for us on a regular basis. And it's amazing. I think the slowest one we had was just under 40 miles an hour.
Really?
Under 25. So, and there are new signs up there. There are flags in the signs. People, well, they miss them, but they do.
They do.
I think the word will get around, Mark.
Very good. Yeah. The last thing I have is that our budget has to be turned into Devon next Tuesday. Obviously I can't present it here because they haven't given me all the numbers. I don't have personnel costs or anything else. It's just operational. But I was wondering if there's anybody that would like to see me put something in the budget above and beyond anything normal.
Well, we're going to work at another position, possibly detective. And try and get that. I think it's due time. I think we have a.
Well, we're currently, the last 2 years, we've ended up cutting, or not filling 2 positions. We didn't cut, we just didn't fill replacements. So we are down 2. We definitely need another investigator. I would love to get another one. So, but I was just wondering if there was anything that any of the council members wanted to see me put in the budget or try for.
Other than what we've put on our wish list, or for the, can you send us a copy of the budget?
The only thing I could send you is the copy of the budget I have is just my operating costs.
Okay.
Which I have to maintain the same level that they had for the last 2 years, so I can't increase those at all, so.
Got it.
Okay, I can't blow this up, but can we zoom in on this picture at all?
Look at that. That's,
Can we zoom in more, or is that it?
That's it.
Well, that's worthless to me.
if they turn on the airport, you could use that. Did you want to do that?
No, I don't. So we'll try it.
What's
We
the
tried.
picture of?
It's the picture of the bank, the person who robbed the bank, the female Hispanic female who robbed the bank, according to what they're saying. So, sorry, I tried. Okay. So Rich's idea is proving well. Good job, Rich. We'll give Rich props. So, I don't think there's anything else really. I think we've kind of put a pretty good wish list together for the
Correct.
police. So, and we don't have fire here, so we can move off of that. I, in the process, lost everything again. So, what's next on the agenda? Lance spoke. Did you do updates?
I can do an update
Okay.
for St. Croix.
Do updates, Lance.
Our call volumes are up. We're seeing a rise in call volumes again. The fourth full-time medic that you allowed us to have has been paying dividends. It's helping with the schedule very nicely. So thank you for that. As we know, the storms that came through, there was a lot of work done by staff, very good work done by city staff on the preliminary damage assessments. And this is the type of work I do in my real life, is this type of emergency management work. So the due diligence that they did for the citizens of Hudson paid off. and you have to meet a threshold. That first night, you've made your threshold with the storm, but then you have to make a county and a state threshold. And to get a presidential declaration, they don't just happen.
Yeah.
They don't fall out of the sky. So a lot of good work was done here. Now there will be a lot more work involved. Before it was estimates, now it'll be the hard numbers. So just kudos to the staff for doing their due diligence, getting the good work out there, and just letting the council know and the committee know that they'll be doing a lot more hard work in the next 60 days. FEMA is in town, and I believe we have a meeting with them tomorrow.
10 o'clock.
Yep, to kick off. And
Great. Yeah, they did. They worked hard. I was out that night with Tom,
yes.
having some
So
a good look behind the scenes in a skid loader, and it was a lot of. It was pretty intense. So everyone worked very hard that night. All of our departments did. So
Yes.
I agree. Great, thank you, Lance.
you bet.
Okay, any informational items that we need talked about? There's nothing in the agenda, so I'm going to skip it. And any items for future agenda? Anyone? Going once? Okay, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks.